Welcome back, fellow enemies of the fire. And now, apparently, this episode has been interrupted with breaking news. Apparently, James found out that there's breaking Wrexham news, and we like to flex our Wrexham knowledge on this show.
Guys, you are never going to believe it. New York's hottest club is Wrexham on Netflix. And you better believe that you better be tuning in, because Wrexham have just announced within the last 24 hours a monumental capacity increase for the historic racecourse grounds. The most historic stadium in all of sports, mostly soccer, but all of sports for this case. Racecourse ground, it's been in functioning since, I think, at least 1914, if not before World War One.
Oh, yeah. No, it was 1800s.
It was in the 1800s. It's one of the oldest grounds in the world, and they've long been very, very small. Very, very small, but actually pretty big for what their club size was. Like, they had one of the bigger grounds for their club size for being in the lower leagues. They're getting a brand new stadium upgrade. Not getting a new stadium. They're pulling the Bears circa 2006, but maybe a little bit better. They're bringing it up to 55,000 capacity, which is a huge...
Well, wait. Hold on. Before you go any further.
Sure thing.
I need clarification. So they already had like a stand that was like derelict.
Yes.
That they were working on.
Yeah, they did.
Where they're getting the extra seats, or are they going to do like a Soldier Field thing and put like a UFO on it?
So their current situation is they got 12,000 seats.
Okay.
12,000. They plan to add over 40,000.
They are smart. That's that's painful, because that ground. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I just had brain blast here. So I was gonna say it's sad because that ground will no longer feel the same. B, to be honest, Soldier Field's kind of the same way, and it still feels kind of the same. And C, I just thought about this. If their actual goal is championship level and Premier League level, I guarantee that the race course is not up to snuff for championship.
No.
Like, definitely not Premier League, but probably not championship.
No. I mean, 12,000, actually it is up to championship in some cases.
Is it?
Having a stadium of 12,000, I think it is. Let's go to EPL Championship real quick. I'll look up stadiums real quickly.
DPG, what do you think? All right.
So my thing is this.
they're in line with some of the lower teams. They would not have the smallest stadium in EFL at all. Adams Park for the Wycombe Wanderers has 10,000. Alexandra Stadium for Crewe Alexandra has 10,000.
Which I think they're fighting for promotion, aren't they?
Dean Court for Bournemouth is only 12,000. Bournemouth, who's been in the Premier League for a while, or a year or two or so, 12,000.
Oh,
Glanford Park for Scunthorpe, 9,000. That's a great name, Scunthorpe.
Their logo is cool. It's a fist like holding like a steel beam, or I guess we call them a girder.
Huish Park with 9,000. Kennel, who has Huish Park homes Yeovil Town. Kenilworth Road houses Luton Town, and they're at about 10,000. Layer Road for Colchester United. I love picking up Colchester here on FIFA. 6,000 stadium. Peterborough United competes with them with Wrexham, with London Road, where they play at, formed in 1913. Stadium is 15,000 big.
Okay, so I guess I was completely wrong.
So their stadium fits, but if they're Premier League. But wait, what about the upper echelons of EFL? Guess how big those stadiums are. Newcastle United used to be there. They have a 52,000 stadium for St. James Park. Stadium of Light for Sunderland, who is currently there, 49,000. Riverside Stadium for Middlesbrough, 34,000. Cardiff City Stadium for Cardiff City, 33,000. Bramall Lane for Sheffield United, 32,000. So yeah, there's some big boys here.
That's actually kind of wild.
So
go ahead, DPG.
I'm gonna say this. I mean, I get it, and it's in our last segment, I took a look at the comments and whatnot. We had one guy from the Liga MX fanboy that clearly started watching MLS after watching Wrexham. But you also had another comment where I think that person commenting is like has been a long time Wrexham fan, and he doesn't like the hype.
He doesn't appreciate the hype.
He doesn't like the hype. I get it.
Yeah, it's like when your favorite band is underground and cool, and then they got that one hit single on our album. And you're like,
you don't want your favorite band to get paid money and have.
It's a weird
get rewarded.
It's not. It doesn't feel organic.
Yes,
it doesn't feel organic.
It is synthetic in a way because it's the power of celebrity that has really boosted the club of Wrexham in some ways.
I disagree. They completely went about it the right way. It appears now, yes, but also
because
I'm not
them as owners. They're like, hey, we're just two guys. Yes, we happen to be celebrities, but we're just two guys that want to own a soccer team because we happen to have enough money and we care enough to try to do this. So to your point, Toke, that's exactly what is happening. So they're like, screw the fact that we're celebrities. We're just two guys trying to make this work, and we are doing our best to pull these levers and execute these deals and contracts to bring in the best people and the best minds here so that we can catapult up the table.
It's a good mix of modernization and respect.
Let me ask you this. How long do you give those people, those longtime Wrexham fans, how long do you give them before they get priced out?
Oh, that's a question.
I don't think ever. There's a completely different mindset with pricing for tickets overseas than there is here in America.
They're bringing 45,000 more seats in the next few years.
I think all the locals.
How long before you have your franchisees around the stadium? How long before you run out the local owned establishment because Walmart's coming to town?
I don't know if we've watched the show enough to be able to maybe Toke has.
I personally think if you look at it, obviously overseas, these cities are older even than the 200-year-old
and their
city
communities
I live in,
are very connected in some ways.
And they're very connected. It's hard to get new construction. I would say you're going to see some of that modernization, but I think you're going to see some respect. And you know what could happen in the other way? The chucklehead who owns the bar next to Wrexham might not get bought out by Applebee's, but he might become a franchise, right? There's a different reality where that happens. And also
you could also be the longtime fan that used to go to their favorite pub before the game or during the away team. Now all of a sudden that whole pub is filled with a bunch of strangers that you have no idea who they are.
Then there'll be another pub, then another pub, and another pub.
That's the thing. Because of that, there will be more. More will form because that's what capitalism works.
There'll be new traditions. They could have easily come in.
It does stink.
Leveled the place.
I hear what you're saying, but
or built a new stadium in the burbs, and built 100,000 person. No, they're staying where they are. They're staying connected to the community.
We don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen. For all we know, these two guys can end up selling it to some Saudi prince for oil money,
just like they did their phone company. Hold on. But what's funny to me is because DPG was very, very much for the stadium in Chicago coming, but isn't so much about the stadium upgrade for Wrexham. I find that a little interesting because they're going for 12,000 to 55,000. That is a massive increase of being able to fund your club up the table and also give more chance for fans around England, around Wrexham, around the world to come and take a glance.
First off, we don't own that stadium. That's not a Chicago Fire stadium. All right, it's more or less a Bear stadium,
right?
And it's gonna be fixed on their dime, and Toke's dime,
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is this: I can't blame the older Wrexham fans, not wanting the hype, not wanting the attention. Because eventually, you'll get in situations where, what if the guy walks into his favorite pub, he has his favorite stool always empty, and all of a sudden now you got a bunch of, randos that you have no idea who they are, and all of a sudden they're wearing Wrexham jerseys, and they probably think they're experts.
That's already been happening, and more businesses will pop up, man. That's how these things work.
I know, but
Well, hold on. Here's a good question. When you lived in the city, and I live in the city now, do you go hang out at Wrigleyville bars? No.
No.
You only do if you're taking customers to a Cubs game, or if you're from out of town and going to a Cubs game. Like, you don't hang out in Wrigley, or if you're 23. But beyond that, I don't know. I think these guys.
I want to think of it as like the phenomenon that we're seeing with, for example, like spring break in South Florida. Like, it's gotten so bad that they don't even want tourists there anymore.
They literally created new laws to basically stop the tourists and the kids from trashing the town in Miami and for spring break. New laws have been created in Florida basically to combat that craziness.
So, the fact is that you're building a bigger stadium, and I get it. But keep in mind that this stadium is based out of a small town, all right?
Right.
It's not a city. It's not Chicago. It's not London. It's not Manchester. It's a small town. And
but how long before, other than Cardiff City, every other person in Wales is a fan of that team? And will travel the 20 minutes it takes to get there.
I think that's going to be the case. Guys, like, if you're a Wrexham fan, I think you should really appreciate this while you have it, because this type of stuff.
The ride has got to be amazing.
The ride. This is a ride. Enjoy the ride. And the part of the ride is all the sights you see on the side, and some of it's bad, some of it's good. Some of it you could see the metal underneath the animatronics, and some of it you're like, holy shit, that's a T-Rex, even though it's not. Yeah. So enjoy it. That's my point, because this stuff's fleeting. Look at Leicester. Leicester's just climbing back up. They won the fucking league. I love Leicester. That was the hype was there, and they had the same problem, the same thing. Leicester got all the hype for like 1 or 2 or 3 seasons, and the fans got chased out, and it was fleeting. And people got annoyed. Stuff changed, but guess what? It faded. It wasn't lasting. I don't know if that's the case with Wrexham, because of the way they have a TV show behind them and all that kind of stuff, and along with the power of celebrity. But yeah.
So some of the comments I'm going to read off to you. We have one individual said,
"Not every club's Man United."
Here's one of the comments. I'm from Wrexham, and I agree with you. I like to see Wrexham establish itself in the championship and be able to stay there, plus see the hype die away. Okay.
Well,
that would be right. Wouldn't that be the really good?
Well, hold on. The hype may die, but the hype may die, but as long as these guys are in it for the long haul, they'll be competitive in the championship, and that'll be good enough. Like that, how dope would that be to be competitive? That's what we begged for in Chicago. Now,
what if this hype brought you there? So, like, that's the price you have to pay. Like, it's a discard in a game. You have to discard the card of the hype, and boom, now you're in the championship.
So
I can't wait to tell you guys this. Hold on, I cannot wait to tell you guys.
Okay, go.
I brought up, will they be there for the long haul?
Right.
They just bought a Liga MX team.
Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds did, right?
Correct. So are they
didn't buy an MLS
around,
team,
or
mind you?
Exactly. They did not buy into an MLS team. That's kind of heartbreaking, especially for a guy so Philly.
Montreal was right there.
Union.
Ryan Reynolds is Canadian. Montreal needs a resurgence.
I mean,
he's a Vancouver guy, though.
So we have one guy here saying, it's a great story. Sounds like hating. No, bro. It sounds like you're just watching the story. You don't care about soccer. Don't even waste your time, bro. Don't argue. Go back to watching documentaries. Let's see.
You have a vendetta here against everybody, bro.
I'm gonna call out people.
No,
here. Let's see.
I think we've had enough call outs.
No,
man.
go one more. Let him go. Let him go.
Okay, let's see.
Call out,
let's see.
We'll give you 2 more.
Let's see.
Pick your 2 most egregious offenders. I'll give you time here, and I'll give you time.
By the way, I liked everybody's post. I like them all.
So, by the way,
there's one guy that says I'm the guy at the right is angry or doesn't like Wrexham for some reason. Ha ha ha. The MLS right now is messy. Yes, it has gotten better over the years. That is what they want. So it's they. That is what, okay. That's what they want. Okay. But right now, yeah. But right now, the MLS is mostly messy. The MLS will love a story or attention like Wrexham.
I actually debate against
To
that.
say-
I don't see
I
the
agree
MLS as
with
mostly.
that.
I don't see the
To
MLS as
say
mostly as
that,
messy.
to say
Well,
that
it's
they
the-
don't is crazy.
The view from outside of the country,
Right.
because MLS
Yeah.
is good about their local people like their local team,
Mhm.
but like outside of this country, it is just like messy.
That makes
Okay,
sense.
so
Why?
so
and
here you go.
Why else are you tuning into MLS? Yeah.
So yeah, not sure what the guy in the top right is talking about, but yes, the MLS would love a show like Welcome to Wrexham that is popular and gives insight on the league teams and players. It's actually only gives insight on one team, not so much on other teams or their players. All right, and for the guy in the top right again, who wants to know when they'll get to the Premier League setup and players and coaches. Probably once they get to the championship, if they get there. Ha ha. Okay.
I love this guy's
they'll definitely
Nelson
make-
laugh.
I
They
think
were
honestly.
in fifth tier just last season. I like how
Honestly-
he makes it.
Oh, go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
no, so it's just basically it's just this guy just keep talking and talking. First of all, the guy doesn't sound like he watches soccer. He probably figured this out by playing FIFA. Sounds like a guy is hating on MLS. So by the name of it,
A
sounds
lot
like
of
he's a
people
leader.
play FIFA and watch a little bit of soccer, so they feel like they're actually
They're
knowledgeable
experts.
at soccer because they play FIFA. And they're like, why isn't he pressing X
Well,
there?
James, is that not why all of us are sitting in these chairs right now?
No.
It might be.
No.
It might be. It might be.
No. So
might
another
be.
thing too is that we got to make this clear. First of all, it's just attention going to a small club. Okay,
Yeah, it's a
There's
small club
plenty-
still. Bigger than all
That's
MLS
still a
clubs.
small club.
That's dope.
It's still a small club, but there are tons of stories with other clubs that are probably more compelling than this small club.
Mhm.
Let's keep in mind here. Let's not beat around the bush. All this attention is because of the guys who own the club. It's not because the club is like doing a Rocky storyline where it's like trying to achieve the Premier League goal. This is just mostly about two guys that own the team and what they're doing and all sorts of stuff.
But
blah, blah, blah.
DPG, they're two guys that have kept all of their promises. That is something that is unusual for all of these owners. You got literally, they made 5 promises. Here's the first one: a pledge to win, team values. Third one: renovate the rest, turning the team into a globally renowned force. Fourth one: renovate the race course ground. That's happening. Training facilities. They're investing in the youth, as Toke was talking about last episode. Check that out on YouTube. Click that link.
Let me ask you this. How many celebrities own, and I'm talking about full control. I'm not talking about your little 10%.
And Will Ferrell's
I'm-
that own LAFC. You're not talking about
Yeah,
them,
Jim
right?
Carrey
Yeah.
and such.
Yeah, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about how many celebrities owners does the Premier League have?
Dude, there's not a lot of celebrities that have that.
Oh my god, because
That
those are
cha-ching.
billionaires that like want to stay in the shadows, dog. Like, come on now. Like,
Mhm.
I
You
think
think-
about
and
this.
you
Hold
think-
on. You're talking about why do we care about this team because of these two guys, dude. I seem to remember there being a big movie about just two guys that played by Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill about the A's, man,
Mhm.
because of these
Moneyball.
sports stories are compelling.
Yeah, so was Sunderland Till I Die. That was very compelling.
Hell yeah, that's why that shit's on there, man. Like,
Yeah, so my thing is this.
and then that time Sylvester Stallone got all those people out of the prison camp.
Oh, Jesus.
Fool's
man.
Gold. Fool's Gold, the movie
Oh
I
my
was
God,
talking
you
about.
figured
Kate
the song-
Hudson
oh my
and
God.
Matthew McConaughey. He was like a pirate in the Caribbean, and she was
Oh,
like some
that's a
innocent
callback.
lady. Fool's
So
Gold.
here's my thing. So I'm happy for the Rex. I'm happy for the Wrexham fans. I'm happy that you guys are going through this moment. I really am. I'm happy for you guys. But it's gonna come a time
Yep.
when you're gonna stop and think and look around, and nothing's gonna look the same for you anymore. All right,
That
all those
dude-
old. I'm telling
Change
you.
is a part of life, dog. You can't stay.
Yeah.
You stay stagnant, you die, brother. You got to evolve.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look at it that way, that's fine. But you're talking about you're
this is-
looking at it you're looking at it from a point of view from the outside in.
DPG, I have one thing I want to add for
Yeah.
you, or actually 4 things I want to add for you, because I
Sure.
wonder if this is going to change the way you're coloring some of these things or seeing some of these things, because these are 4 on-the-record guiding principles that Rob and Ryan stated when they wanted to do when they took over. They want to protect the heritage that has made Wrexham AFC and the race course ground such a special place to watch football in the last 156 years. They're doing their best to keep that promise. They're not getting rid of the race course ground. They're literally upgrading it with fantastic effects. Number 2, reinforce the values, traditions, and legacy of this community. They're not just looking out for themselves, the community, the local community. We understand and respect the intense loyalty and love for this club and how it's woven into the fabric of the town and its supporters in the town. Big time promise to them. Third promise, to use our resources to grow the exposure of the club. Let's have a little Netflix show. Of course, this would be in concert with protecting the heart and spirit of a community-led historical icon. They give lip service to it there. I hope that they stand by those principles. But why can't the third oldest club in the world have a global appeal? That's exactly how I felt when I took Wrexham over in Football Manager, when I saw, these guys have like one of the oldest stadiums in the world.
You immediately started playing as Wrexham. See, that stuff works,
I
man.
vibed with Wrexham before this Rob and Ryan stuff happened. They were my team. They were my go-to team in Football Manager forever since I started playing Football Manager.
You know what?
I like to do the research. I was going through teams. I didn't want to play a top English flight team. I wanted to play a road to glory, and I wanted to find a team with a little bit of history. Yeah. What's interesting about Wrexham is they are a Welsh team that plays in the English system, and they have one of the oldest stadiums in the world. So I was like, you know what? That's history that I could buy into, and I love history. Number 4, the last guiding principle, and I'll let you talk here, to reward the faith of the supporters who have stood by Wrexham AFC throughout its history by putting everything we have towards what fans want most for their club, and that is to win. So they're saying that they're backing up some of the oldest fans. The fans that you are very much concerned about, it sounds like they're also concerned about, and that sounds like a good thing.
They profile a lot of people on that show, man. A lot of just regular folks, and they were really they gave people who were doing volunteer work. They just gave them the job title and a paycheck, like that. That's doing something, man. That's doing something.
So my thing is, one thing is trying to run a small town club.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is trying to run a whole championship or Premier League club.
International
club. I think they could live a good life for however many years in the championship. They may sniff the Premier League, but I think championships where they settle in, they're a Millwall, right? They're always in there. They're always fighting. They're never going up.
Why can't the third oldest club be more popular than Man United? Why can't the third oldest club be more popular than Tottenham?
So to add on to your principles, that literally reminded me of the time that Nelson Rodriguez stood on that chair and went on and on about hyping up the club. Hyping up about community.
DPG, you know, he's like, we strive to be world class. And guess what happened after that? So they talked about world class in 1 or 2 or 3 more press conferences, and then everybody started holding them. Everybody started holding them to account and saying, "Hey, where are the world class standards? We see your training field next to the dump. Next to the clod of dirt. We see your exercise room. We see your stadium. Where is the world class commitment? Because you're talking about this world class commitment, but we're not seeing it from you, Nelson Rodriguez and ownership. So I think that we're seeing that from Wrexham, though.
You are, and more importantly than even them doing everything they said they were going to do, they're not doing the opposite, which is what literally
and calling out the fans in a letter.
Said.
Okay, so I'll give it 5 years before everybody forgets about Wrexham.
You're wild. You're wild.
Hey, welcome to Sunderland, right?
Yeah, you're stuck with them for a long time.
No, bro, I give it 5 years. Stuck. I'm gonna hear about it. How they sold their stake to some oil tycoon from Saudi Arabia. Maybe a prince.
Guys, let us know how long you think the hype's going to last on Wrexham. Are they a forever club? Are they coming into forever territory?
When they get to the championship, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if they sell the club to another highest bidder.
Oh, that'd be abysmal. That's a sad way. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening, Wrexham fans.
We'll see.
But it might happen, right? I mean, they're gonna have to sell the club eventually, but that probably Ryan's dead, Rob's dead, their family's dead.
We're not seeing that for quite some
I'm not
time.
seeing that for another 50, 60 years. The family's gonna love it. They're gonna be the new we don't want McCaskies. No. You want Rooney's. That's who you want.
Yep.
Because the Pittsburgh Steelers win. All right, guys, we'll catch you guys on the flip side of this. We're going to be talking Chicago Fire and a little bit more before we end the podcast. Thanks for hanging out here on Enemies of Fire. Make sure you guys punt that like button like a motherfucking G. Let's go.